Okay, so this is a little out of order for this video, but that is because everything that could have went wrong with this build did. Just about every component had some sort of issue that I had to address, and most of these components I would not use again. So, in order to explain what's going on here, we're going to have to go backwards. Alright, so this white build of Jeffy's has been an absolute pain in the dick for the past week. Between bent pins on the CPU he ordered that I finally straightened, and everything, a damaged case. This was supposed to be an all-white mini iTX build. We finally get everything together, and the goddamn BIOS is corrupt.
A few moments later.
We were able to restore the BIOS. I cannot believe it. If we would have had the recording, it would have sounded like, I don't know, like Jeffy finally lost his virginity. The amount of excitement that was in the room when we fixed this. But let's get this thing put together. Alright, so actually before we build it, I just realized I didn't go over any of the specs, and I want to go over why this is probably one of the worst builds I've ever done, even though it's going to come out awesome because I did it. But first of all, this case, please don't ever buy this case. This is one of the worst. Look, these aren't even finished. These aren't even polished. And this isn't cheap. He paid between the case and power supply, and then having to get that riser because the one he ordered didn't come with the riser because he didn't check, because the way AliExpress lists their different variations, he thought he was ordering the right one. But he's like over $150 in. And this case is cheaply made. Plus this power supply that came with it is probably one of the sketchiest Chinese power supplies ever. Now maybe it's rated for 600 watts, and so far everything post-tested fine. But look at these connectors, they're all the same. So your 24 pin's the only one different. The rest, the only difference is what pins the actual cable populates, right? So like this one that does SATA is going to populate the 3, the 5, and only one 12-volt rail, whereas the SATA one, or the PCI Express ones aren't going to populate the 3 and the 5, but they're going to populate all the 12-volt pins. So I don't know. I don't like that at all. This motherboard, while fantastic, I had to flash the BIOS. The BIOS out of the box was corrupt. Now, that really wasn't that big of an issue for an experienced builder, and in fact, once you have the BIOS on the flash drive in the right like folder orientation, rather, it boots right up automatically into it and starts flashing it because it knows the BIOS is corrupt. So that part is actually easier to fix than I thought, but if you're not an experienced builder, you're not going to know what to do, especially since the website's in Chinese, and even after you flash it, the English BIOS that comes on here is gone, and all you have left is Chinese and English mixed BIOS, so you might have to use Google Translate on your phone to do your BIOS tweaks. So for my own builds, I probably would order this motherboard again. I would not recommend it if you're not an experienced builder. That being said, he spent like $68 on this motherboard, and that has a B550 chipset, not an A520, and it has the extra NVMe on the back. So the board is awesome. The cooler is awesome, just you might have to flash the BIOS out of the box. The RAM, that's a 16 gig kit he already had. He bought this 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, and this 1660 6 gig is one of his old graphics cards that he had. So he wanted to throw it in here because it had some white accents. It's actually going to be a placeholder for an RX 6600, probably order an AliExpress, like a Soyo white one, 6600M. Now on to AliExpress. As far as all my AliExpress builds go, this is the only one you'll ever see on the channel, because I'm never doing it again, that has an AliExpress case of power supply. For what you pay for these, you can go on Newegg for Business. You can get a budget case, or even a premium case, or Amazon and get a premium case and power supply for around the same or less money than he had into this. And even the budget ones are going to have, like, polished. This isn't even and there's cracks in it, because if you saw my, I don't think I did a short on it. It was actually only on my company's Facebook page. But this case came bent. I had to straighten some stuff out, and there's a couple little cracks on here. Now the seller immediately approved the return, but it's going to cost more to ship it back, or around what he paid for the case just to ship it back. So we're going to go ahead and put all this together. Just keep in mind, do not ever buy with this. This is T60 MetalFish. Yeah, don't ever buy this case, please. Please don't ever buy this case. Now, the CPU, I almost forgot about that. The CPU pins. All 4 corners had at least 2 bent pins. I straightened a total of 9 pins. And why? Because the original seller, this isn't the CPU that's in there, but this is one I have for representation, shipped it in one of these upside down. Okay, and as you see, there's these little corners here that hug around the IHS. But on the reverse side, there's pins there. So if you put this in upside down, you're going to bend the 2 pins there. Possibly 3. So I straightened a total of 9 pins on this because the seller put it in the clamshell upside down. Okay, don't do that. But all right, now for real, we're going to get this computer put together. All right, before I get this together, I know I keep saying I'm going to put it together, but I keep finding more things wrong with this case to rant about. All right, see, look at, there's no ears here, right, to catch, or rather no slots to catch these little ears. So the only thing supporting the GPU in here is going to be the riser cable and 1 screw. Oh, 2 screws. That's it. So I would never even ship. Yeah, just don't buy this case.
One eternity later.
Alright, so this build took entirely too long. Way too long. It is all set though. Alright, I straightened this out the best I could. Back here. It's still a little crooked. Jeffy's fine with that. We're going to straighten it out better when he upgrades the graphics card anyways. That was a shipping thing. I tried my best. We were going to put two 120mm fans in here, and while you can make everything line up, and while the description said you could put two 120mm fans up here, the issue is that the actual screw heads for most of them pull right through, and I don't have any screws that are big enough right now. So he's fine with it as is. It doesn't really need the fans. It runs nice and cool the way it sits. So yeah, I'm glad this computer is finally done. But please, like, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but please don't buy this case. Alright, this MetalFish T60 is a piece of garbage. It is way overpriced for what it is. Power supply that comes with it is super sketchy. Oh yeah, and these filters, this is like a sticker here that's adhesive on. So once you put that on, like, good luck getting it off. Well, I mean, it will come off, but good luck getting it off to clean it and put it back on. So yeah, that is it for this low quality video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.